but he didn't win in Iowa. You know, people. I mean,
He did.
The line is if he could.
Tie is a win there.
The line people are using is if he couldn't just not win in Iowa, where is he going to win besides, you know?
If it's South Carolina that he ties, do you think he won?
I'm sorry.
If he ties in South Carolina, that's kind of a win?
Yeah, in South
I
Carolina.
mean, because it's ridiculous. I'm saying. Like,
What percentage
Iowa,
of the Democratic voters in Iowa voted for Bernie Sanders?
49.6.
That was after O'Malley dropped. That's what messed it all up.
You have to take them out of
O'Malley dropped, and there was some weird.
Hillary was 49.9 and Bernie was 49.6.
And what percentage of Republican voters vote for Bernie Sanders?
Republican voters, no.
Well, I mean, you're talking about numbers. Aren't those numbers fairly clear to you? Look, this is why has socialism never caught on in this country? Huh? Of course. Well, of course.
Because of what?
Individualism?
Of course.
American individualism.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Just like people don't understand progressivism, they don't understand something. Once he gets into the spotlight and Americans begin to learn, just like they don't understand progressivism, they don't understand socialism, more and more people will explain socialism to Americans and they'll be aghast. But I still want to talk about this.
We have socialism, though. I mean,
What?
we're very much socialist in this country.
Well, what is
Already.
I mean, I just told you what progressivism means on the basis of thousands of years of
They're
intellectual history.
exclusive.
What does socialism mean? We use these terms. Do you know what it means?
Yes.
Well, what does it mean?
Well, I'd say the state. I'd say there's some community joining society, some social.
Socialism is it's
sharing
clearly, it
of
means the state
resources.
ownership of the means of production.
There's degrees.
What?
There are degrees, and owner of production isn't the answer for that. That's not part of the definition.
That's the whole definition.
Communism. It's
Communism is a form of what?
They are not the same.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I've spent my entire life studying intellectual history, and all I can tell you is that
Well, what's European socialism then?
socialism, democratic socialism.
So we have communist governments throughout Europe.
Well, you've taken the class.
What?
Tell them the difference
I am-
between different
That's
communism
logic.
and democratic socialism.
In communism, there's no state.
Right?
It has to do with
Leadership.
the philosophy is exactly the same. The question now becomes, in biology, what do they have? Genus and species?
Yeah.
The genus, as you recall, is socialism. And then there are different forms of socialism. And one of the species
They're related.
is communism. So the goals are exactly the same.
This degree is kind of like what he's
Government ownership of the means of production. This is essentially an economic theory. What differs is how do you achieve the goal? A democratic socialist says you can convince more than half of the voters, you understand, to change the system so that the people who run government will control the means of production.
What's the opposite?
And communists say that's naive. The only way that you can change capitalism is to kill all of the capitalists.
So capitalism is the antithesis to socialism. It's on the other side.
Of course.
All right, so are we a capitalist country then?
Of course we are.
So how do you explain welfare under capitalism?
Welfare, you see,
Explain all the
socialism
welfare
is
programs.
basically an economic
Of course
plan.
we're a mix of the two. I mean, we're not to either side. Neither is any of the socialists.
So you're claiming that the United States is not a capitalist country?
Yeah, sure, if you need that, like as a direction. I mean, I would think that it's some mixture that we, is a Republican the furthest right conservative or a Democrat fully liberal? Like they're in the middle. They share beliefs and thought. The policies that can encompass or
I don't know.
cross
You
the lines.
need to study a little bit about socialism and study it. See, you don't have to tell me. See for yourself. So that's it. There's genus and species, and the difference has to do with how do you achieve this. And the goal is the same for socialists and communists, and that is, what was the famous quote?
From those
Yeah.
with the have
Yeah.
to those who
Yeah.
have, it's Marx and I'm messing it up, sorry.
Ability
But that's
and-
what all, that's what all,
I know
that's
that's
what
the
all,
right.
that's what all socialists believe in. And the question is, how do you get there? And that's been the difference between them. And Marx broke off from other socialists because he considered all of the socialists other than Marxian communists. He invented communism because they were naive about the way to achieve that goal. And it has to, and he said the way to make sure that from all to all is to change the economic system. It's an economic analysis.
There are no absolutes. I mean, it's degrees.
Well, there was a guy by the name of
There's
Marx,
movement.
and he did have
The capitalism leads to, one winner. It's everything funneling to the smallest amount, to whatever, just one group or one person. I mean, it ends that way. Socialism, you could say, ends with the equality among everyone. But there are degrees as we live in. Some people are very wealthy, some people have less, and then there is movement between. How much do we allow the movement?
So why hasn't socialism, with all of its species, ever been popular in this country, barely?
I don't know why.
Because the people have been satisfied, because capitalism, for all of its
People
pros and
want
cons.
capitalism.
Why?
It's a stigma to say.
Because they don't want anybody telling them.
Well, that's part of it, but also people have, Americans have
pride,
basically
yeah.
profited by capitalism.
But
So why do communists hate labor unions? Why do communists hate labor unions?
Because they slow down the process
Of what process?
of everything being equal.
Of revolution, yeah.
Yeah.
By satiating the materialist desires of the population.
it opposes the state, right? Would that be in your example?
What?
It opposes the state, the labor union?
Labor unions oppose the state.
Well, I'm
Labor-
saying in a
No,
communist.
communists oppose the state. Labor unions love the state because they can
Business.
compromise. At any rate, let's get back to our original point. We want to talk about this strange election. And,
Is Bernie really a socialist?
huh?
Is he really a socialist?
Well, he studied the subject, and if he says he is, I'll agree with it. I don't know much about him. Who knows much about Vermont politics?
Have you followed the other outsiders? The Ted Cruz or the ones that have dropped out? The non-establishment group within the Republican Party? Ted Cruz won the Iowa caucus.
What question are you asking?
Or just have you followed them? What was your opinion on those? On that?
They're demagogues. They're trying to take advantage of the confusion. Take back America. What the hell does that mean? At any rate, having been manipulated by these demagogues like Cruz and Carson and Trump, and to a certain extent Bernie Sanders, the American electorate is just absolutely in a confused state. It's not like America doesn't have a model of effective presidential leadership. That has existed all the way back to George Washington. And but these demagogues have convinced us to lower our expectations.
But
You
demagogues,
understand? Sanders, Trump, Cruz, Carson, Carly Fiorina, they have no leadership capability, political leadership capabilities. So that's where I'm coming from. How the hell do these people who so clearly have no political leadership capabilities, how are they getting all the support?
Working in the hospital, we do like a lot of dinners for like big business people, and I know a lot of executives and owners of the hospital say that they support Trump is off the basis face that he's a very successful businessman. And I heard one guy goes so far, he doesn't care about how he would run his foreign policies and all that. All they really care is he's a successful businessman.
Well, what is the talent of a successful businessman? What is the purpose of a successful businessman?
They was talking about like
I'm
corporations.
asking you, what is the talent? How do you know, how do you judge between businessman A and businessman B? How do you determine whether one is more successful than the other?
I guess it's businessman A has a corporation that's worth $1 billion.
Make a lot of profit, right?
Yeah.
Well, what is making, so that's the talent of a successful businessman. What does making profit have to do with running a country? I'm just trying to tell you. When you look at somebody who's applying for a job, what you want to do is you want to define what the job is supposed to accomplish, and then see what kind of talents, what traits they have, to see whether or not it matches what the job description is. So what does making a profit have to do with running a country?
That's one question I wanted to ask.
Well, I'm asking you.
Yeah.
I don't think he has
It has
that.
nothing to do with running a
Yeah.
country. It has nothing to do with running a country whatsoever.
Mexico.
So that's what it is. So our expectations have been lowered. The demagogues have gotten control of us and they've lowered our expectations. And I'm telling you, it's not like we don't already have a model. Americans don't have a valid model to go by of presidential greatness. You go back to the days of George Washington. So that's what I'm doing for this article. I'm looking at the qualities these great presidents, naturally Washington, Lincoln, and Franklin Roosevelt, what are the qualities that they displayed when they led this nation through the greatest crises in our history? So that's what I'm.
What do you attribute this phenomenon to? Why do you think the electorate is in such confusion on what they want, whether it's left or right?
The main reason we talked about is that middle-class white men have seen the writing on the wall, and they're not going to be dominating American society for very long. And they're scared. Take America back again. What is the take America back from whom?
Well, I think of that term, and I think you're right with that. I didn't mean to. I think it has some portion of the complaints they've had toward Obama with his lack of strength that comes from the country. So American exceptionalism, the way that we just do what we want, and people, either do it with us or whatever. We don't care. I think that would be, in some ways, take America back. But I see your
From
point.
whom? From whom?
Well, from the weakness, from the other countries dictating, like UN, from the globalization, from
compromise, I think.
climate
The
change
United States is by
policies.
far the strongest nation in the world, but we have the strongest economy.
But we
We
give
have
in.
the lowest, huh?
But we give in
To whom?
to China.
But I think that's why they don't like Obama, is because he negotiates, and they're saying we don't want somebody who negotiates. We want somebody like Reagan who doesn't negotiate, who knows they're better.
Trump's entire thing
But we
is
say
Trump,
Trump is
he's a businessman
qualified because he negotiates.
yeah. because he wrote the
There's
book,
no
we
standard.
argued the deal.
But that's not what they
best-selling
want.
book,
They
New
want
York
the
Times
strength
bestseller.
that they see in Trump.
It's
Buy it,
it's
read
fine.
it.
Is mine.
So he can make deals.
They don't want-
China all the time. It's
But
all
I'm
the
going to
time.
tell you, is Obama, they talk about how he negotiates and how pathetic he is with Russia, and how he doesn't take a strong
He
stance.
didn't write a book about it.
The book is only for the campaigns to sell books. He doesn't actually believe those things.
It's a big book for her.
I think they hate Obama not just because he does it, also because he negotiates and because he tries to work across the aisle.
So let's get back to
Point
I'm
is,
trying
we
to get
don't
back to
know
my
who
original
wants to
point.
get back.
So did Washington and Lincoln and Roosevelt negotiate?
Yes.
Well, of course they did. You can't be in politics if you don't compromise.
Negotiate from weakness, negotiate from strength. I mean, it's, if you watch the rhetoric coming from the right, that's where it starts. You know, it starts with bowing to the leaders of other countries,
Right.
and it leads to, you know, us giving in on, we're giving lawmaking power to the UN, or they can tell us what we can do in our houses
So the
in the
right is
US.
playing off of pride, American pride. Nobody tells an American what to do,
Right.
and they know
Yeah.
that stream, so they're
An
tapping
American
into
may
that.
mean, like he said, this white man ideal, and
There's a
yeah,
photo
I
of
think
Obama,
that's
like,
definitely
kneeling at a
the
king or
contact
something.
of.
Right, in Saudi Arabia.
It's not really the king.
But is that true?
Is what true?
Is America kneeling?
No, we kill everybody.
It's not,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, except
It's
now
just a
in
joke.
Syria, you know,
It's a joke.
we
We're
let
not
Russia
killing
come
people,
in.
that's the problem.
Huh?
We're
We
not
let
killing
Russia
people,
kill the
that's the
people.
problem.
We're killing a lot
That's
of
all
people.
Russia's killing
That
people.
was a
we're
big
not
deal. That's the first time we've allowed Russia to do that sort of thing in the Middle East, to go in there and take control over what happens.
I think it's a smart.
But so
It doesn't matter if it's smart or not. It's ceding power to